So let's go into this Painters on Demand acquired in 2021 for 8.5 million, which was 10 times, almost 10 times the largest acquisition you did on all the others. I mean, where did that come from? Was it the broker also?
No, that wasn't.
No.
So they were a sub of ours. We would sub them out large painting projects.
Yeah.
And, we met the owner, great guy. And one day we're having a drink, shooting the breeze, and, just talking about what we do, what our plans are. And we told him a little bit about what we wanted to do. And he said, at some point I'd like to turn the page, I'm, of X age, and, I want to enjoy life a little bit, blah, blah, blah. And I talked to Jason, and we came back to him and said, hey, why don't we talk about this? Right. And a year and a half later, we own the company.
So it was almost a year and a half sales cycle where you planted the seed. It goes through his head, like, these guys can buy it, take it over, keep my legacy, keep my employees. And okay, I'm comfortable with these.
The deal fell apart a couple times before it happened.
Why did it fall apart?
Just because it does. I mean, he had an advisor that told him that he thought he could get more money for it, So we were honest with him. We said, hey, listen, man, we've done this a couple of times. This is your first time. This is what's going to happen. They're pulling your chain. When it comes down to it, they're going to run you through the mill, blah, 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 blah. And he was honest with us too. He's a great guy. We still hang out with him. We got a meeting next week, I think. He said, I understand, guys, but I for my sake, I just got to go through the motions. I said, all right, so let's give it a timeline. I think we gave him like 90 days. If in 90 days you don't have a asset purchase agreement in place, we go back to the table.
Was this a broker dealer and it was listed on a site, say?
No, it was a guy. I don't even know what the guy did.
It was a smaller M&A firm that he was working with that was essentially preparing him to bring him to market.
Okay. Right. And he said, what valuation did that guy say it was worth? I mean, because that's how you really sign up clients, is say, oh my God, you're going to get 10 times X.
I don't, if I told you, man, I'd be making it up. I don't remember exactly, but it was, I want to say it was like 8 times or something. It was like high.
8 times EBITDA on a painting company. Okay.
Yeah. Right. And we were like, and again, don't quote me on that. It was high.
It was too high for you guys. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I think it was too high for anybody, frankly.
I don't know anybody that paid that 8X.
Yeah. And the market doesn't bear that. Right. Yeah. And so he went through it. So 90 days later, we call him and we say, hey, where you at? And he said, you know what, man, it hasn't happened. I'm going to pull the plug. I said, all right, so let's schedule a meeting, me, you, and Jason, lock ourselves up in a conference room, and we draw out the deal. And we did that. I think we were in the room for 4 or 5 hours, and we left with an executed LOI, and then we put it all together after that.
What kind of questions did you ask him to get his real motivation? Like, what were his curious or odd, like, I want this, like,
So a couple of things that we've figured out, which helps, is most of the time, right, at this smaller level businesses, the people that are selling have this notion, and I'm not saying this was this guy's notion, but they have this notion that your business is indirectly worth what you feel you need to do for the rest of your life, right? Yeah. So you feel you need $3 million because you want to travel the world and have, X amount put away for the rest of your life. So all of a sudden, your business is now worth $3 million, right? Yeah. One thing has nothing to do with the other, but this is a lot of times their thinking. So you have to allow them to speak and in many cases, kind of try to educate them a little bit and say, hey, listen, one thing has nothing to do with the other. There may be a way that we can get you to the $3 million, i.e. some seller financing, which you're going to make some interest on the money. We're going to pay you more than the bank's going to pay you, yada, yada, yada. but one thing has nothing to do with the other.
Sure.
And
At that point, if they look around enough and speak to enough brokers, typically they'll find somebody whose valuation aligns with what they feel they need for the rest of their lives, right?
Yeah. And this is kind of weird because business owners, it's really easy to see what the comps are in real estate and what the
Correct.
property next door is selling. Like, well, dude, you're not going to get any more than the guy next door that sold to you. Right.
Correct.
But business owners, there's not they don't go, they have a broker or an investment banker says it's worth 10x. Yeah, that's crazy. But there's no place where they can go, well, it's only 2x or 3x EBITDA.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
And
so that happens often. And, a lot of times they fail to realize how involved they are in their business. And if they weren't as involved, then potentially or most likely that multiple would be higher. However, they are almost always more involved than they lead you on to believe they are.
Yeah. I mean, they could be doing the hiring, firing, they could do the sales or business development, or they're doing all of this stuff. They are still inside the business.
Correct.
And it's not automated or a general manager in place.
And if it was automated and there was those people in place, frankly, most of the time they wouldn't be selling. Let's be honest.
That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the real test is simple, right? And we ask them all the time when we meet with people. Oh, no, my business runs by itself. I think I work like 2 hours a week.
Really?
So really? Well, pack your shit. Let's go. We're going to disappear for 2 weeks. Let's see what happens. Well, no, I can't do that. Well, because I got to do payroll and I got to do this and that and the other and yada, yada, yada. So that defines really if you got a really good job or you actually have a business. Can you leave for 2 weeks and call in every couple of days and the business keeps running?
You got a name for that? Like a fishing for swordfish 2-week trip?
I don't know. Whatever, man. Vacation in Belize, something. But if you can't leave and things run by themselves, so to speak, you really don't have a business. You got a good job.
Yeah, you got a great job. And so did he realize when you guys went to this 4-hour meeting, did he already go through this process and realize like, man, I'm at this point, I'm going to be transparent because it's not selling and I want out. What was motivated to want out? Was it health reasons or something? Or
so he doesn't have any health reasons, thankfully. Like Tony said, he's a great guy. He's a good friend of ours now. We enjoy spending time with him. Frankly, I just believed he knew where we were at in the economy cycle, where we're at in where we're at, economically.
Yeah.
And he knew that he was not willing to take on the next step and the next tier of his business to grow it to the next level, frankly, and felt confident that we could do that. We've shown, we were able to show him and prove to him that we could do that. In a lot of ways, our operation, that we operated similarly in a lot of ways. So, he was attracted to that. We were attracted to that. We both liked each other's teams at, the different companies, et cetera. So, it was a good fit. And I'm sure if you ask him, he'd tell you the same thing. It was the best fit. He did speak to some other people, like Tony said earlier, and it just wasn't the same thing. And frankly, even with those other people, we knew who they were, what they were doing. It would have never worked anyway. But
so he saw the headwinds coming in the economy and didn't want to go through another down cycle, and the energy required that. And then he didn't want to. He didn't have the energy to grow to the next level. When that part of the conversation came up, did he kind of ask you for a piece of it, kind of doing the private equity model, put 30% back in chips on the table? Did he ask for any slice of that? If you took it to 16 million, he'd get the upside on that?
No, we didn't do that. No. He was pretty honest, man. like I said, we talked about it and he just said, hey guys, listen, man, it's just time for me to move on. I've done this and I want to travel a little bit, blah, 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 and spend some time with my grandkids. And, you guys are younger and I think this is a good fit, which it has been thus far.
How old was he?
I want to say he's early 60s.
Yeah.
But everybody's different, man. What's ideal for me may not be for you, or vice versa. Different people.
Geez, look at Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger. They're 92.
Sure.
They're making still $1 billion deals, $100 billion deals.
In their case, a little bit different. That's the only thing keeping them alive.
That's true. If they stop off that train,
that's all you have at that point.
Yeah. It's interesting. So how is that? Did you install a general manager? Somebody, one of you two take over, or what? Did he have a number 2 man in place?
So he had and still has his core, his C-suite, for lack of a better term, were 3 badass guys, just good guys. We met with them, had drinks, hung out with them. We liked them. They get along. That was an important part for us. Post close, we told them we were going to put a program in place where we were going to share the growth with them, i.e. overrides, commissions, and stuff like that, where we're going to bust ass, but they were going to make more money.
Yeah.
Right? And it's worked out that way for all of us. I mean, we're doing really well with that business. They're doing well. They're making more money. It's great all the way around.
Show me the compensation plan. I'll show you the outcomes. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, again, going back to people who we've met that are trying to do what we're doing, you got to realize that you're not the only person that wants to make more money.
Right.
Everybody thinks, oh yeah, you got to share, right? You're defined by your team. You want good people. You want to be able to grow. You got to have people you can put weight on their shoulders, and those people want to make money.
Yeah. Are you having trouble finding
give
people?
It to them?
Oh yeah, right. No,
I'm not saying give it to them, but put a vehicle in place where they can earn it.
Yeah.
As far as finding people, yes. If I told you we weren't, I'd be lying. It's a challenge to find people.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Well, going back to that conversation with the seller, and he knows that there's headwinds happening, there's headwinds happening. Are you offering them a multiple because of those headwinds a little bit lower? Economy goes south, interest rates go up, inflation goes up.
Well, the part of the answer is yes, in a certain way. Part of the multiple, our deal that we struck up and the capital stack and everything kind of has to do with that, right? He did, hold the seller's note. We do have some commercial debt, et cetera. So we felt and still feel that given the deal that we came up with, I mean, it was no secret, a year ago that at some point here, we're heading into a recession. Rates are going to go up. I mean, things like that are happening. That's not a secret. Whether it's 6 months or 18 months or 24 months is to be seen, but it's going to happen.
Yeah,
it would be naive to think not. So that all that stuff was taken into consideration in our deal with them.